again picking up the Scotch opening at move 4. Black has bishop to c5 as a principal idea, and lots of ideas for white to defend against this, or to reply to this rather. And obviously knight to b3, knight to f5, trying to hit the g pawn there. We've got what else have I seen here? Oh, knight takes c6, which has a lot of tests at grandmaster level since Kasparov started using it. But I think the easy move to understand and to play is bishop to e3, just developing another piece, supporting the knight, and actually setting a trap. Your idea is if black doesn't make any sort of move at all, your idea is to take on c6, which hits the queen, so black has to take back. And however they take back, we can win a piece with bishop takes c5. So black needs to do something about this threat of knight takes c6. If they defend the bishop with d6, so after bishop e3 d6, then takes on c6 again and takes on c5 again, and black's pawns are a horrid mess. At least one of those pawns I expect will drop off during the course of the game, and black's in a mess. So what should black do about this? Well, not d6, but the right move for black has been known for a long while. Queen to f6, continuing with development and getting the queen out of the way of that attack on after knight takes c6. And now if knight takes c6, black's got time to take on e3 first, and would be fine. So now you've started propping up the knight on d4, carry on, and now black continues their development quite sensibly with knight to g on g to e7. And now white should move the bishop on f1 and castle, but where to put the bishop? It can go to, well, I've seen it go to b5, e2, c4, and some people put it on g2. I think the most active square, bishop to c4, is the most sensible and is the sharpest in the main line. Knight e5 for black here just asks white to reposition the bishop, so back to e2. Now if you could have put it there straight away, what have you gained here? Well, actually what you've gained is you've made black move the knight into a position where it's going to lose a move. It's going to lose a move if you play f4. So this move from out to c4 and then back to e2 isn't actually pointless, even if it looks it. Queen to g6 is the main line for black, and now black's forking pawns on e4 and g2, and we'll castle. Now knight takes, if black takes on e4, white just finishes their development with some hopes of winning the game quickly. Bishop to h5 is an idea. Knight on 4 to f3, hitting the knight, and if takes on e3, takes on e5, and if takes on d2, do you think black's getting away with this? Takes on f7 check, king h8, takes on f3, setting up some discoveries, takes on e3 check, takes on e5, and with the discovered check, John M says white wins after knight f5, rook e1, threatening mate on e8 if the queen moves, and after king g8, queen f5, queen f3, queen f6, and now queen e3. Again, black's in a horrid mess here. So splendid b sacrifice there after queen takes e4. Not all forced, but I hope you see that after queen takes e4, this cheeky pawn snatch, knight d2, and just white's got enough development and enough central ideas to make life very unhappy for black, who hasn't castled. So after castles, instead of queen takes e4, d5 is an idea, and we saw this bishop h5 move in the last variation. Bishop h5, I think, is an idea here to force black to try and take the e pawn. So queen takes e4 here, and knight to d2, and we have similar lines to the ones that we just looked at. So I think those are okay for white, and white wins a lot of games that way. So after castles, d6 I think is safer for black, just the chance to get the bishop out before going any further. And now white's got a choice, I think, of playing either f3, which is perfectly solid and a fair way to play, and if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, f4, and if queen takes e4, bishop to f2, and now that knight has to move, as we've discussed earlier. Bishop takes d4, c takes d4, knight on 5 to g6. So black's ended up taking the pawn anyway, but we've got plenty of central control, which is nice. We've got the two bishops, which are also nice, and some good chances of making trouble for black. I mean, the extra pawn may be important, but whoever's winning on points in junior games tends to come and go. So the odd pawn here or there seems to make not a lot of difference, and it's much more about who can come up with the most ideas and the most initiative, and push their opponent around. You know, attack with all your pieces, make trouble for your opponent, and that's likely to be more important than however many pawns you've got at any one point in time. So that's the Scotch game, and the other main variation for white.